So, after going into why the third eye isn't that important in a previous video, let's talk about how you develop your third eye. Which, okay, the third eye is important. It's just not the end all be all of the energetic centers when it comes to your psychic senses and when it comes to performing magic. And it is also a case where if you are living a grounded, holistic existence, many of the things that will strengthen your third eye are things that will come naturally to you. So, one thing to consider is back in the ancient times, before the printing press, and before we had videos like this, before we had electricity, how did our ancestors commune with spirits? How did they develop their gifts? How did they perform spell work? And the way they did it was through oral tradition. And what would oral tradition do? It would tell stories. I'm convinced this is why mythology is structured the way it is. Because when you think about most of the stories that would get told around a campfire, it's symbolic and it speaks in a language that the subconscious will grasp. So it engages the primal and primordial aspects of you, while at the same time engaging your mind, engaging your senses. A child who's hearing these stories, they might envision the gods themselves, envision the locations described. If all of their senses get involved in it, they might feel the wind on their face or the rain on their head while they're listening to the tale. When you are imagining things, you are interfacing with the astral plane. And in that moment, you're creating with that subtle matter. It's a creation that will evaporate the moment you turn your attention away from it. But if you can imagine, then your capacity for everything from spirit communication to intention manifestation and spell work will strengthen dramatically. And don't get too wrapped up in the word visualization, because in terms of engaging the psychic senses, visualization isn't just seeing. It's not a matter of making a movie play out in your head. It's great if you can do that, capitalize on that strength and make it more detailed, get to a point where you can stand in an image of your own creation and have it feel stable, and have it get more and more and more detailed as you get more skilled at doing it. But if you have difficulty actually seeing things in your mind, if you have an easier time imagining what something might sound like, go with that instead. If you have an easier time imagining what something would smell like, go with that instead. Ideally, you will evolve all of these different aspects of your visualizations. But if you only have one strength, don't shame yourself or assume that you're doing something wrong because you don't have the other aspects. Work with your strengths and then work on shoring up your weaknesses. Because everybody's going to have a slightly different way of doing things, and there's nothing wrong with this. So if you're looking for ways to engage your imagination in a manner that will help with your psychic gifts and that will develop the third eye, one thing that you can do is intentional daydreaming. So you're doing this anytime that you are writing a story, anytime that you create a drawing, if you're an artist. Even when you think about writing a song, journaling can be a form of daydreaming. Going back and forth into different memories is a form of daydreaming. You don't want to just let your head go off into the clouds. But if you are present and you are processing what you are thinking, what you are seeing, what you are feeling in the moment, that brings everything together and it will strengthen your entire energetic body, but especially the third eye. Another thing that you can do, if you're not used to reading fiction, anything that will require you to construct an image or a set piece in your mind will help quite a bit in terms of developing your psychic abilities. And if reading isn't your forte, you could try audiobooks. You could try looking up older radio shows like The Shadow. There's a ton of those in the public domain. And that has a side benefit of connecting you with the vibe of different eras with people from different walks of life and who had different perspectives than we do in the modern day. And of course, not all of those perspectives are exactly what we would describe as politically correct. But that contrast can still be useful in terms of breaking out of our modern mundane patterns. If film or animation is something that you're drawn to, well, I just got finished watching a wonderful anime called Mononoke, and not Princess Mononoke. That's what's going to come up when you search that term. But there is an anime that is just Mononoke. The anime is about 12 episodes long, and it is one of the best portrayals that I've ever seen of thought forms, possession, spirit work, and how it all actually operates. And it's extremely abstract and very close to how mythical stories would play out. I couldn't imagine watching that and not engaging your subconscious or expanding the range of possibilities within your waking consciousness by trying to grapple with it. There's also films currently on Netflix. They aren't a summary of the series. They are their own original works. And I haven't watched those yet, but I'm excited to. I don't have a streaming subscription. I find the movies through other means. In terms of anime, another great one would be Mushishi, which I would consider a meditative Twilight Zone. I'm not going to get too deep into describing the premise because, well, this isn't an anime channel. But film-wise, Stanley Kubrick. You've got a lot of options to choose from. Develop your interests. Go deeper into some of the more obscure media that maybe you haven't gone very far outside of the mainstream. Look into art house films. Even with music, look into music that you haven't normally listened to, because anything that breaks you outside of your typical mode, anything that takes you outside of your comfort zone. I have very eclectic tastes in music. It doesn't mean that I like absolutely everything, but I will say that even music that I don't get, that some people adore, that just sounds like various fart noises to me, it still expands my consciousness. And it still opens up the range of possibilities within my imagination. So it's worthwhile for me to branch out every now and then, even if I definitely don't like some of what I've just exposed myself to. Be adventurous, try new things, and engage your senses any way that you can, in a way that will imprint new things upon your consciousness and expand your range of awareness. That's it for today. Thank y'all for being here. If you like the video, go ahead and leave a like. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. Pass the video along if you think somebody would find it valuable. And if you're looking for my writings and my services, you can find that in the links listed below, as well as my socials. I'll see y'all again tomorrow.